If you interview other people who are at the top of their game, and even if you say nothing in that interview, you're just asking a couple questions, people who watch that interview will ascribe that knowledge to you.
It's me. Hi, Dennis.
Yeah, there you are.
How are you?
Good. Are you feeling better?
I am on so many antibiotics. Well, the Z-Pack, and then I coughed all night long, and so I just got on those, and I feel better. But I got this cough; it'll just come on, and it won't go away. But it's weird. I feel good, but then I run out of energy and hit a wall. And so, anyways, I was traveling all last week, and I think I picked up something on the road.
Well, slam that vitamin C
Yeah,
and think.
yeah. And so yesterday, where I was just like in a blur, I was running out of energy, and then I looked at my calendar. I was like, man, I missed the call with Dennis. And so I'm so sorry.
Hey, it happens. You booked another one next week too?
No, I think there was some overlap or something on that. So that one, because I booked yesterday's for that. So this must have accidentally been a duplicate. So I was so excited when I saw it today. I didn't know how it got there, but I was like, okay, this is a real one. I didn't know if it was accidental or what.
Okay, well, let me just remove that one. It's like, wow, why do we have so many Richards in here? Okay. All right. So what can I do for you?
Well, thank you for reaching out and stuff like that. I sat next to Jorge at
Josh's 7FA, yeah.
Yeah, at the seven figure, and he and I got to talk a lot about. He's the one that really told me a lot about about all your training and the thing that you do and stuff like that. And so ever since then, I started adapting the dollar a day formula. I started creating some videos, and we started getting some good wins from that. I've got an ads manager guy who runs really a lot of my Google ads. And so he's running my Facebook ads and stuff. And so, initially he was kind of like, no, no, no. He goes, the funnel is not working. Let's go with this right here. And just more mainstream, typical, put up an ad, more bottom of funnel type of ads and stuff. And it was really working good for a while. I mean, we were pumping out. I was getting, good 20, 25 appointments a month. We're landing, 1 month we landed about 6 new clients, the next month about 4 new clients. So we're really good. Facebook has just fallen flat for us. My niche is plumbers. My company's Plumber Marketing USA. I went from my old agency to this. We're still building the website on this one here, and I've got an SEO team, and we'll SEO it and everything. But for right now, we're just using landing pages, and we're using Facebook ads as our primary incoming source. So we're spending about $3K a month, and right now it's just gone completely dry. So I've just taken reins, and I've gone back to producing the videos. And so we're just creating the videos and putting them at the top of the funnel videos, and shot some middle of funnel videos. We just put those up today, and then so we're just creating that whole program, the whole steps that I saw you teaching in the dollar a day program.
Yeah.
I know that my audience is going to be, I know I can really just scale. I love being on video. I love teaching. I love connecting with people and having that inbound call after they've watched and gotten to know me.
Which is pretty standard. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I want to keep pressing into that. But that's where I'm at right now. We're just like, we hit a flat mark, and I don't know why.
Well, I took a quick look, and I have a guess. When you have the vertical niche like what Josh Nelson teaches, it sets you up perfectly when you have a lighthouse. You know the training we have on having a lighthouse?
I do, which is other people in the industry.
When you have the number one player in the industry, or close to that, then you never have to sell again. You never have to do any of the standard, book a call with me, let's hop on, like none of that, because anytime you do that, you're ruining your authority. Then you look like a door-to-door salesperson instead of someone who's expert where they really, really want to spend time with you. So let me show you a couple things. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm a bit of a weird bird because I have many, many, many lighthouses. You only need one in the plumbing niche. So if I look at, I'm using Google Photos right now, which is off my phone. It grabs everything off my phone. And you'll see there's tons and tons of pictures and videos of me and Daryl all over the place. Speaking at conferences, we're at his $30 million house in Florida. He's got this mansion in Louisville. We're in Vegas. Like we're hanging out all over the place, right? We're in the car and we're just doing, eating food. We're good friends. Now, we're not talking about legal marketing. Now, he's the lighthouse for personal injury. So if you're a personal injury attorney, which is a big category, he's the one that everyone wants to be like. And all the personal injury attorneys go to his conference. He's got a big list, the masterminds. And if you go to his social media, you'll constantly see him and I hanging out. And he'll say, hey, Dennis and I, we're doing this right now. We're going to go eat some steak and all that. And it's off of his, we're going to the basketball game, right? Now, what do you think happens when Daryl Isaacs posts about me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatnot?
Oh man, it's an instant credibility. People probably looking you up.
Yeah, because when you see like 100 people like the post, those are all personal injury attorneys. A lot of these guys do 10 million, they do $1 billion. So I never have to book any kind of calls. I never have to hire a sales team or any of that because I have a great relationship with the Lighthouse. Now, of course, we're driving sales as well, and we're documenting how we do everything we do. And we put together courses under his name. We've done webinars together, all that, and that's all ungated. So the thing that you're talking about that, we'd have to look in your ads campaign to see what's going on with those Facebook ads, but my guess would be that people, the shift in the market, it's not because of iOS, it's not because of the cost of ads going up. I mean, those are all sorts of things that have happened. It's that there's so much of this kind of marketing out there that it sounds like like all these plumbers are just getting bombarded by everyone else doing the same Dan Henry kind of thing.
Yep.
And, Dan Henry's a good friend of mine. So I get it. Right. Yep. So when you show the relationships you have with the Lighthouse and you publish this in all kinds of different ways, up, down, sideways, whatnot, then that client does all the work for you. Okay. And then if I look at what you've been putting out there, most of the content you have is yourself.
One day I was involved.
And that's great. You're telling 1-minute stories, you're doing $1 a day, 1-minute videos against this, but the best content for you, Richard, I'm not saying don't create the solo content here, but increasingly because there's a lack of trust, because all the AI tools are generating stuff, because everyone's doing Alex Hormozi style videos, which is just creating more noise. Yep. The way to stand out above the noise is you have to co-create content with your lighthouses.
Okay.
That's the number one thing. So when I look at your content, I don't see anything wrong with what you're saying. It's just, it lacks authority.
Yep. And
then I look at your sites and the Plumber Marketing USA. I know the SEO is weak on that for all these different things, but I need to, it's this simple. If I'm a plumbing HVAC company and I want to, I'm having trouble with marketing. I don't know who really is good at PPC or SEO, Facebook ads or whatever, right? I don't know. I'm just whatever. I'm going to go based on trust. And that's how everyone makes decisions. Yep. So I've got a lot of doctors in my network. So I have the Lighthouse among dentists. I have Glenn Vo. He has 35,000 dentists, but he's a good friend of mine. I'm going to see him next week. He's literally my dentist. I fly into Dallas, but he's got 35,000 dentists that follow him. Or I have Tom Ferry, right? Tom Ferry is the number one guy in real estate. He has 450,000 agents, and I've got a ton of training with him and I talking about digital and all that. Now, how likely is it that these dentists or real estate agents or personal injury attorneys understands, Google Eat or understands bounce rate or cost per lead, or they don't understand any of that. So they just go with who they go with the Lighthouse. Yeah. That's literally all you need to do. It has nothing to do with technical optimization of your Facebook ads. It's think about, if you're a plumber, you're going to make decisions based on who is most reputable. Here, I'll show you another one. I have lots of examples of agencies that I coach that are doing this, and they have all kinds of excuses until eventually they realize like what I'm saying is correct. It is. I mean, I hear all these excuses. So here, I'll show you an example. Welton Hong, okay? This guy, English is not even his first language. And what's he doing? He's constantly posting 1-minute videos showing what he's up to. He's, vacationing. Like if I look on his Instagram, you'll see it's just him telling little stories of what he's up to. And let me find it here. It's hard for me to type. His Facebook too. Like, look, this is a video he made just this morning, right? You can see he's just constantly making these little 1-minute videos where he and Susan are, they're traveling the world. And while he's doing that and going on vacation, he's publishing articles and he speaks at all the conferences. Yep. So the beauty is whenever he's at a conference or whenever in general, everyone knows that he's the guy for funeral homes. Okay. And he's grown his business now to 300 some clients, paying $2,500, $3,000 a month. Nice. So he's got $1 million a month business from doing this. And he tells me, because I said, well, to make your 1 minute videos, and he's doing it, and he's posting other stuff. He's at conferences all the time. You don't have to have a booth, but he does.
Yep.
But he's constantly showing, I'll show you his posts too. He's just engaging socially. See, he's not even that great on video. He's saying, what does ChatGPT mean? He wrote an article about this for funeral homes, right?
Yep.
Funeral home this and funeral home that, right? Look at this. He's giving one tip at a time. But so this is what you're doing, right?
Yep.
But also look at how, so here's more tips, but he's also at events, and it could be events that were several years ago. And he's showing who he's with, the top people in the industry, that everyone else who's in funeral homes is going to recognize, oh, that's so-and-so. So if all your content's just you, it doesn't carry enough authority, even if what you're saying is incredible, right?
Yep.
So the co-created content that gets posted across multiple channels, then $1 a day, is going to be key. Plus your YouTube videos are getting no reach anyway, so you should be boosting those.
Okay. I was running the YouTube videos, and the ads, but the conversion rate was nothing. And so I stopped the paid ads on.
Yeah, you don't use YouTube for direct conversions. You use it for lead gen, or you remarket against the video view audiences.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're just trying to, if you're trying to go from cold touch straight to booked appointment, there's only certain kinds of content that work, and the content that works there ends up actually hurting your reputation. So it's actually it's a strategic error to do that.
Okay, so just remarket off of the video views on YouTube.
Or you don't even need to remarket. Just put your best co-created content out there and just trust that when you build a reputation, see, it's not your conversion rate or whatever it's your reputation that creates the conversion. Yes. That's what people don't seem to understand. They believe if they make one VSL or one really amazing landing page, that their agency is going to get tons and tons of appointments every day, because that's all these other people are trying to sell this nonsense.
Yep.
You get clients because of your reputation.
Yep.
Right. You approached me because of my reputation. Was there some landing page you went to that promised you all these amazing things? No.
No. It's just seeing how far out, how connected that you are. And it's like, how can anybody get so connected with so many people? I knew there's something that you're doing right, Dennis.
What I'm doing is I'm applying the lighthouse strategy. So if you look at my content, Richard, it's not me trying to pretend I'm the expert. I mean, I have a lot of experience and I have a lot of knowledge, but what I do, you'll once you see this, you can't unsee this.
Okay.
90% of my content, I'm uplifting other people.
Yeah.
And I can't be the expert in every single area.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I interviewed the top digital marketer in real estate. I know a lot about real estate, but this is the #1 guy. So I'm asking him questions, and guess what? This is the weird thing about the human brain. I'm asking him questions and I'm learning, which is great. And then I make a post honoring him. And then all these people that see this, they think that I have this expertise.
Yeah.
I said, Jason Pantana taught me this, and this. And Jason and I have been friends for years. And I've been on his podcast and vice versa. But when I elevate other people who are experts in their area, somehow people that flows onto me.
Yep.
I'm definitely not an expert in every single area in digital marketing, but because I happen to know all the people who are the #1 in every one of those areas, yep, then that transfers to me. And so, like, it's 7-figure agency with Josh or whatnot. Of course, I'll demonstrate examples like, me and Jake Paul, or me and Grant, or me and whatever, just to show like I actually can walk the talk.
Yeah.
The majority of the knowledge that I share is when I'm honoring someone else. And I'm not just saying, oh, I read so-and-so's book, because anybody can do that.
Yeah.
I'm showing how I acquired that knowledge because of my personal relationship with them.
Totally makes sense.
That's the difference.
I like it. I want to become really good at the lighthouse strategy. Now, in your academy training thing, I don't remember seeing any training. I haven't taken any training on lighthouse. Is there a training in there, or what do I?
Yeah, there's a whole agency course that's like 37 modules. Okay. And there's one, here it is. This one, I'm going to paste into here. There we go. Start with that one.
Okay.
And there's nothing, I mean, I've pretty much like everything I do ties into this lighthouse strategy, because the lighthouse strategy is not some secret. It's your authority is based on your reputation, and your reputation comes from being really good at plumber marketing. And thus everyone knows you. And in that circle of these plumbers, when you know everyone who, in fact, people that are competitors are not your competitors, because You know, you're sharing your best tips and all that. And there's like, you should do audits. You should, like, one of my favorite things to do, like I'll do stuff with the Better Business Bureau. Here, I'll show you. I'm literally telling you my secret. No one else is even doing this, which just makes me wonder. But you know, the Better Business Bureau, right?
I do.
So they reached out to me and they said, hey, you know, what do local businesses need to do? And then this is what happens.
Let's chat. Are you cool with that?
Okay.
Jedi Masters.
See, listen to this. This is at the national level.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for Building Strong Brands with Trust, Simplicity, and Next Level Creativity, featuring gentleman who was just speaking, Dennis Yu. My name is Jeff Niebaum with the Better Business Bureau, and we're going to have some fun today, learning from one of the top digital marketing Jedi Masters, if you will.
And he goes blah, 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 and on all these big compliments, right? Because that's what they do in the beginning of a webinar or podcast. They say all these really good things, right?
Yep.
And so when these people say these good things, you collect all that and you put it in your content library. So now I have 1,000 accolades, right? Like every time I've spoken with Josh Nelson on a webinar or whatever, in the beginning, he says, oh, Dennis Hughes is amazing, right?
Yeah.
I've collected all those. So then I would challenge you, have you been collecting all these? If you collect all those, you can sprinkle them into a speaker reel. You can put them on your landing pages. You can use it in your marketing material. I mean, you can use it in so many different ways.
Okay.
Put it in your podcast reel. There's so many different things. And then all that does is it allows you to build this multiplying power.
That's cool.
So that's why we hire VAs to collect all that stuff. They're listening for that. Like I'm not trying to boast, but if you were to go to my Twitter or Facebook or whatever and just scroll through the last few hours, you'll see tons and tons of people that are saying good things about me, right? So we collect that. And then we say, wow, thank you so much. Can I quote you on that, Richard? And they say, of course. Right now we've gotten what's called lightweight consent, which is legal approval, right? And we send them a pair of socks with their face on them, right? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Now, are you the person that is responding and managing your own social media? Or do you use like a community manager that's your voice?
I try to do it myself, but I have 3 community managers, and one of them is my executive assistant. And this executive assistant is so good. He can get on a Zoom call with you and you would not realize that he's from Pakistan and I got him from RepStack, you know, he's got a great British accent. Now, most people, when they hire a VA, like if you don't have a good filtering process, like 99% of the VAs out there are just terrible. They're just mindless. They're just, you know, there's a whole reputation for VAs doing low level work, but there is that 1% of VA that's incredible.
Yep.
And that's what you want.
Ones from RepStack.
That's just what you want. You do not want, and even RepStack will send me, like I'm always interviewing these people from RepStack, and I reject the majority of the people they send through because they need to, they can't just be good. They can't be okay. They need to be excellent. And if they're not excellent, so it's what I like to say with hiring. And this is like, I hire a lot of people. A VA, you know, RepStack is only one of many places. And we hire directly. We hire a lot of young adults too in the United States, you know, out of college and whatnot. But we say maybe means no. So if another manager is hiring and whatever, and they're saying, yeah, you know, we really want to hire Jacob, I think he's pretty good, but okay. And I'll say, all right. But would you have him work on your team? No, I think they should work on someone else's team. Well, okay, they're not good enough then. Yeah. Oh, I really like this person, but there's this one thing about them. That means no. It needs to be excellent or or no. The answer is no. There's no maybe. Maybe means no. And I've struggled with this too, because a lot of people, I'd really like to hire this person, or I really don't want to let go of this one particular person because I really like them and they have 3 kids and you know, I feel bad if we let them go or whatever, but maybe means no. And so when you have really high quality people and you build a reputation around having high quality people and you have first-class experience around that, then that is your marketing for you right there. It's not landing pages and Facebook ads and all that. The whole $1 a day thing, which I think people don't understand because they view it as just some technique, like some trick hack. It's to amplify what you already have. So you already have a lighthouse. If you already have a lighthouse, $1 a day is just you already have great relationships with Josh Nelson, these other people, Jorge, whatever. $1 a day will amplify that. But if what you put into the amplifier is garbage, it just amplifies noise.
Makes total sense. Thank you for that. So one of the things that was on my to-do list is to get to like other vendors who sell to plumbers that are around the industry.
Partnerships are great. That's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, talk with them, interview them on your podcast, like just basically co-create content Because obviously these vendor relationships, they can promote you and vice versa.
Okay.
That's what Glenn Vo does. You seen what Glenn Vo does?
No, who's Glenn Bow?
All right, here, look. Okay, look, I'm looking at your SEO. It's terrible. So Glenn Vo runs this thing called Nifty Thrifty Dentist. Now, Glenn Vo is our lighthouse for dentists. And because he's a dentist and he's doing so well, he doesn't even go into the office except once in a while, right?
Oh,
He's teaching and speaking and doing life coaching sorts of things for other dentists because he's already kind of, made it. So now look at what he's done here. He's got so many interviews. I think he's got, maybe hundreds of these on his podcast that gets turned into YouTubes, that gets turned into articles, get turned into all these. And all these people are vendors that serve dentists. Look, there's software that does, there's tax people. There's like, you see, he's not only the lighthouse, but he's interviewed all the other vendors. So because he has this audience, look at how many pages there are of this stuff.
wow.
He's got hundreds of these, right? He's interviewed all these people.
Wow.
So now why would all these people want to be on his podcast?
Because they want exposure.
Yeah, they all want to reach dentists, and he's got a ton of dentists. He is a dentist. So all these guys that sell software or products or whatever, they want to be in his podcast. And of course, they talk about look, he's got freaking ads up here now. This wasn't even here before.
Wow.
But this is taking this partnership angle to the nth degree because other dentists want to learn from other dentists. So he gets on the podcast and he interviews these people. He doesn't even need to know anything about IT or cyber criminals or like you can see every one of these is like some other thing, right?
Yep.
Modernize your practice with patient AR automation. I don't know, whatever that is, right?
Yep.
So he also, as part of it, because if you're a subscriber, a member of Nifty Thrifty, then he also negotiates a discount, right? So anyone who's a member of the club, of course, you're going to want to tune in because you're going to learn from this practitioner, the CEO of this other partner company, and you'll get, 20% off your like whatever supplies that you use for a dentist, right?
Oh, wow.
So he wins in multiple angles. And then that vendor wants to promote that they were just featured with Glenn Vo. So then he's getting SEO power off of that as well.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love
Now,
that.
now do that with your lighthouse or if you have a really well-known plumber, that person could be like a Tommy Mello or like a Daryl Isaacs or like the other ones that we have and help them build their brand and their community. Because if someone's a true lighthouse, Richard, they're not worried about the day-to-day. They're worried about helping other plumbers be able to grow their business and, like Josh Nelson, like doing this kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So they naturally will want to have a podcast and a book and all that kind of stuff, which naturally ties into this. And then you leverage, because you power that figurehead because they're a client, they see it as PR. That's actually lead gen for you. It's a very, very Trojan horse strategy, but it's not dirty. It's not manipulative.
I love it. I love it. And I enjoy that. And I love connecting with people. I love building up other people. And so that's what drew me to
Yeah.
so much to your training. So that's really cool. There's a conference called the WET Conference. It's next Tuesday. I'm flying to in Indianapolis. Plumbers coming in. It's a really big show. I just learned about it, and so I haven't had enough time to book a booth or nothing, but I booked a couple days just to go there and meet the vendors.
Interview all the vendors there, make 1-minute videos and ask them about their stuff and say, hey, I'm interviewing you for our YouTube channel. Tell us real quick what your thing does, right? Oh, well, our service does this, this, and this. So you can just go booth to booth. And then, of course, the people in the booths are usually going to be like the CMO, the CEO, maybe like the head of sales or somebody, right?
Yeah.
And so you're building those relationships. Then you put them on Twitter. You take that 1-minute video, have your team edit in Descript. Like we have a whole process to do that. Or, you could even post it raw if you don't want to or whatever. But then you tag them, right? On Twitter, you tag them on LinkedIn. And now all these people are going to be following you. And then everyone who is a client of that particular vendor in the whole exhibit hall, they're going to start to see you too, because you're praising, not in a fake way, but you are like you're a journalist with the microphone and you're interviewing these other people. Then all the clients of that vendor will know who you are.
I'm doing interviews. I could be posting right there. Oh my God.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. And
wait till I get right.
And I'm sure there's going to be, a few other digital marketing agencies that have booths at the conference too. But I guarantee you they're not doing this because they're stuck at their booth.
Yeah.
They have to sit there and they're basically held hostage. They have to wait for these people to come by. That's why I never want a booth.
Yeah.
I want to go around and meet people, not sit there and have random people come up to me. And then they come to my booth. Now I got to talk to them and answer. Like, I know they're not serious, but I have to sit and answer their questions and be polite, you know?
Yep. Yep. Thank you for saying that too, because I was feeling a little bit bad that, dang it, I should have jumped on earlier and had a booth. And so now.
No. What do you think? What do you think? I'm asking rhetorically, but Richard, what do you think carries more power? Having a booth or being the keynote speaker?
All day long.
So do that.
I love it. And it's perfect too. I'm all set to go at Josh's event. You told me to get the Pico mic.
Oh, the Pico mic. Yeah, there you
This
go.
will work so easy to do that too.
Yeah.
So I'll just hand him one of the mics and I'll grab one of the mics and I'll do a little interview there. This is beautiful.
You have the little adapters too and all that, right?
Yeah, I got the adapters too. My biggest problem with this is it's so small that sometimes I forget. So after
you have to lose them. But here's the thing. So unlike the Rhodes, I don't want to get too geeky on you, but you see like these little, it comes with these two.
Yep.
But anytime you buy another one of these, because I lose these, because sometimes the guest walks away.
Yes.
These
I almost jumped in the shower. I forgot. I caught it right before I got in the shower.
So I buy extras of these. So Rode, when you buy a set of Rhodes, they're paired. You can't like swap them. These you can. You just stick them in the thing and it just pairs them. So I always carry extras because it happens because you have a great interview and then they got to go run off to go speak and then you have to do this one thing. You're like, oh shoot, I forgot. And then
it's so small, so light. You could forget.
Yeah.
So thank you for the recommendation. I love
And
it.
the other thing too is before you go in, like right when you leave the hotel or whatever, go to the conference center, put this on, or you're interviewing guests, put it on early, and just leave it on the whole time, because this will last the whole day. Yeah, the Rode only lasts an hour or two, so you constantly got to turn it off and turn it on, and all. But this one lasts the whole day. It's great.
Amazing. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll just collect interviews and boost them. So my thought is do quick little minute interviews, what they're doing and stuff like that, and then get a card and say, hey, I want to invite you to the podcast, and then build a higher content and just move that relationship up.
But then on your podcast, they're going to Google you. We don't want them to look at your YouTube or your website or whatever and see like you have 12 views. So you have to $1 a day, your most recent post, just so people can see like it at least got a few hundred people on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or whatever to see it, right?
Okay. Yeah. So where should I build that up? Should I do that on Facebook or on YouTube?
YouTube.
Okay.
When you're interviewing people. Yeah. But you can take snippets. Actually, you know what? If you're doing like little 1-minute things, you can put them on any of those. But when you have a podcast, put it on YouTube primarily, embed that YouTube inside the blog, which gives you Google stacking, right? Because it's Google on Google. And then take snippets, highlights of those podcasts, and then put that on social media, kind of like as a bumper trailer. You're enticing people to then come to YouTube and watch the whole thing. And I know a lot of people, when they say podcast, they think audio, but all podcasts now, all the pros do video. So there's no difference now between podcast and Zoom. It's just collecting video, even if you pull out technically the audio just to be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever. It's you always collect the video. Plus, in the beginning, when you edify them, and at the end, when they edify you, because there's always edification at the beginning and end of any, it's like a ritualistic, like people to just do that, right? You see that. Those are the moments, like I mentioned last time in the 7FA thing, that's when you listen very carefully, because those are the video snippets that you're going to pull. And then you assemble a whole bunch of them from all the other lighthouses. And then people say, how does Richard Cruz seem to know everybody in this whole plumber space? He's like the most connected guy. How did he do it?
Wow, that's awesome. I love that. Thank you. So then I should probably follow the same things, because my YouTube channel is Plumber Marketing USA. So I should be doing my brand. We call it Richard Cruz or Richard Cruz Show or Richard Cruz.
It's going to be better when it's Richard Cruz.
Okay.
If you call it plumber marketing, then it just taints it by making people think that it's an agency. So the more people feel like they identify with you, the less they feel like they're being sold. So the best way to sell is to make people not feel like they're being sold.
Okay. Just Richard Cruz or Richard Cruz podcast or Richard Cruz show?
I think, Richard Cruz podcast or show, either of those. Like adding podcast or show or live or whatever is elevating your authority as a journalist who has the stature to interview all these other people. And you see, the whole thing with the best way to drive sales for the agency is to make yourself appear objective, like a journalist. The minute you become some salesperson, hey, click on this link and book a 15-minute call. Could you use an additional 3 appointments per month? Well, call me. And like that, you lose all respect the second you do that.
Totally makes sense.
And I totally understand why people do that, because they're trying to go for their conversion rate and all. So they make bottom of funnel content. But the best way to get people into the bottom of the funnel is show the relationships. And this is the weird thing. This I was telling you, I still don't understand it, but like I interview all these other people, Richard. So for example, one of my lighthouses is Sam Tejada, and he's the #1 guy in the IV therapy space. And because he's so well connected, he knows all the other CEOs, like some of these guys that have like 1,000 locations and other people have like 50 locations. I've interviewed all the top CEOs now for his book. And I don't know anything about stem cells or HRV or Myers cocktails or gene sequencing or regrowing, heart tissue or like all this like medical stuff, right? Like, because there's all this crazy stuff that's happening, right? In the last year or two, like just science is just, it's unbelievable, right? What's happened. So I'm interviewing these doctors. I'm interviewing the guy who's basically the father of stem cells, which is an incredible thing. I'm like studying because I don't know. I just have to prepare before I interview these people, right? So I interview these people. It gets put into a book, which we're releasing next month. And remember, I am not a doctor, but I'm interviewing the very top doctors on the planet. I have no business talking to these people, but I share some of these videos in draft with other people in the industry, and they all ascribe me to be a medical expert. I am not a medical expert, not even close. But I've learned this is not a fluke. And I think it's because they assume like, if that person's hanging out with you, then you must be kind of like that too.
Totally makes sense.
But it is completely illogical. You do not ever have to boast. You never need to show your knowledge. Like when I was on CNN arguing with Zuckerberg about whatever, I never had to say, and I'm very knowledgeable about Facebook. I never once needed to say that. Like just because of where I'm at, it's assumed that you're knowledgeable.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
So you, as like the Richard Cruz show, hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Richard Cruz show. Today we're interviewing so-and-so who runs this kind of thing. The fact that you pre-framed it that way instantly establishes your authority.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then of course, ask smart questions, try to do some preparation. Don't just like walk up to somebody at their booth and like, oh, what does your thing do? Like, don't do that, right? But have a little bit of prep, and then you've pre-framed yourself to be an expertise in areas that you don't have expertise in. And I don't think you're not lying. It's not devious, but you're interviewing them like a journalist, not as a marketing agency, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
I promise you it'll work. When you go to this conference in Indy, let me know what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll work really well. And then you're going to be surprised. These things that I just mentioned that are illogical, I'm a very engineering, like math, data kind of person. And it's been like 30 years and I'm still surprised. It still amazes me that these techniques work. It's just how humans are. They're just illogical.
Yeah, and it's cool because you're helping other people, you're serving other people, you're building relationships. It's cool, I love that.
Yeah. And you're not feeling scammy. You're not having to deal with rejection or trying to close deals. Like every deal I've ever closed, whether it's like a Nike or a Jack Daniels or a Rosetta Stone or whatever, has always been them coming to me. And it's never been like me trying to say, well, now let me tell you about how much it's going to cost. Like I've never done that. It's always been, hey, we really want to work with you. Like, please, what do we need to do? Can you make room for us? Send us a proposal. And I've never gotten these proposals rejected. I've never gotten pushback on price. I bid $1 million to Nike. I said, okay, all the stuff that you want to do for analytics and ads across all your different departments globally, it's going to be $1 million. Like, okay, great. Shit, I could have asked for two.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Cool.
But that was my first $1 million deal.
Wow. That's amazing. I love that.
But it was because of relationships. So the way I got Nike was because we did really good work for Adidas. And of course, these guys all talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
At these conferences. So then the head of digital marketing at Nike says, Casey Feeves, he says, hey, Dennis, I know you're working with the Adidas guys. And I saw what you guys did for the Olympics, which was really awesome. Do you think maybe you can come over and we can have a meeting and we can kind of like discuss? And I know what that means. It means come in and they're going to bring in a bunch of people and try to suck as much juice as they can out of me. I get that. I know I'm prepared for that. I'm totally willing to do that. And then they're going to have such a good experience with me because I'm going to share so much knowledge that they'll say, damn, we need to hire this guy. We need to hire his agency to do the same thing. So I'm not making it a secret. I'm not saying, well, you'd have to hire me for consulting for me to tell you about. No, I'm going to show you exactly how we do all this stuff, right? With Adidas's permission, of course, because they're all friends with each other. And then they say, wow, this is so good. Like, okay, we need to do this too. That's always been my strategy.
Man, that's awesome. So what do you do for them? Do you consult, or you run their social media, or what exactly are
Well,
you?
we built analytics for them because Nike has got a broad and a deep footprint, meaning they cover all the sports, but they also cover every angle of athletics, footwear, and apparel, and so accessories. So I come in and I always do a strategic audit. I always start with an audit, right? The audit is that it doesn't matter what the client is. I start with an audit because I start with the medical framework of the patient comes in, right? So it's always the case the patient comes in to me. I never go knock on doors. So if the patient comes in, I'm now the doctor. I've established authority because the patient's come into my operating room. And because it's my operating room and my framework, and I have authority, then when I say we're going to take some blood, we're going to do an x-ray, we're going to do this whole audit process, you're going to give us access to these different things. So they're already in that framework where I've established myself as the authority. So they give us all the access, we run our audit, and we have a whole process on how to do that. It's called a quick audit. And we always find things that are broken. Always start, the audit always leads to pain. And then we look, Richard, we look at their data and we say, Richard, based on this x-ray here, it looks like you have a broken collarbone. It looks like your vitamin C is deficient. It looks like, and so we're looking at their data. So they can't argue, it's their data. And, of course, your testosterone, I mean, you as a 35-year-old man, your testosterone's at 250, it really should be above 500. So we're going to need to get you some testosterone. We're going to need to, because this number is too high or too low, we're going to need to do this. Because, the industry benchmark is this and this, right? So then here's a report, and all these things that are red is bad and green is good, right? And you have a list of all these things, and there's a few things that are red and a lot of things are green, but a lot of things are red. And so naturally, because we're looking at your data, we're applying benchmarks, which are the same benchmarks we've used forever. No one can argue with them. Then they naturally need to go for our treatment plan. And it doesn't matter at that price, at that point, what the price of the treatment plan is, because they've already bought into they came into the emergency room, they trust the doctor, they see we have this framework, they're going to have to go with our checklist. And at that point, it's okay. So we agree that these are the things that we need to do because here's what we noticed in the data. So nobody can argue that, right? It's not an opinion. It's not, I don't care how many consultants they want to bring in because they all have to agree, like, yeah, he's right. Okay, now who's going to do it? Now, is your in-house team going to do it? Are you going to hire another agency to do it? Do you want to have us do it? If you have us do it, it's going to cost more. Of course, we would like to eventually transition into where everything's in-house because that's where everything's moving towards. But if you don't have that capability, you could hire us for the first 6 months. We'll build everything. We'll get it going. At the same time, we'll help you build internal capability. And that's what nails them because they know they don't have the in-house capability. The CMO is always asking, yeah, we need to build it because I hate paying all these agencies and not having control, but I need to still have it done. So everyone has the plan that eventually they're going to bring in-house. They never do. So they just pay you to do this. And you're transparent. It's not like you're trying to, hold them hostage every single month. Like, here's what we're doing. And if you can find people that can do this stuff, we'll start to bring people over. And I've done this with a lot of clients where they do start to bring people over and build an in-house talent, which I love doing because now I have people on the inside because they're trained in our framework, our way of doing things. And I love it because now I have someone on the inside doing it our way, using our tools. Now we're in good.
I love that. That is awesome. That is brilliant. I love it. It's so cool.
It's so logical though, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Really.
Yeah. So that's what you do. And that creates LTV and all but that strategy works especially well on the really big guys. So anyone paying, say, more than 20,000 a month, that's a great strategy. But if you're selling the guys that are only paying a couple thousand a month, you need to do a modified version of that.
Okay. I like that.
Cool. Well, are you getting value?
Oh my gosh, totally getting a ton of value. I mean, it's confirming the step that I had because I've wanted to build the podcast and build other people up. I'm so glad you told me about the lighthouse. I'm so glad you told me what to do next week. So I'm going to have my Pico mic all ready to go, do the mini things right there, feeding them out at the show. Because if I'm feeding it right at the show and I'm in proximity, it's going to hit those people, right?
Yeah.
And then when we had a question for you, we were kind of stuck on wondering if the targeting was the problem. At first, we were at plumbing, contractors, but there's only 6,400 people. And it's okay, maybe we're just hitting the same people over and over again. So we just opened it up as far as our ads. our normal ads. And then we just open it up more to just broad plumbing, anything to do with plumbing. There's one category that's plumbing interest, and that goes into the millions of people. And I know
No. That's consumer. That's too much B2C.
that's
Here's,
what I thought.
here's what you want to do. Start with Twitter
Okay.
and start by targeting the people that are known from an industry standpoint. Not that consumers would ever know who like this one guy is, who's the head of whatever company. Then move into associations and conferences and trade rags, which is still avoiding, the whole point is you want to avoid the B2C side of things, right? So start with Twitter on that. And then once that's working well, move into LinkedIn and do job title targeting, which is not quite as good because like, you know, for various reasons, whatever, like not as many home service businesses are on LinkedIn. And then you can move to Facebook and TikTok where you're doing no targeting at all, or you're choosing an objective that's like a landing page view or collecting email. And therefore the system will find other people that are plumbing contractors, whether or not we can actually target them directly.
Okay.
You have a strong enough signal. Then you have, you know, because once you've done these other pieces, once you have webinars, once you have a list of your customers, you create lookalike audiences against that. And that's where it's really going to start to work for Facebook.
Okay.
Mid-funnel objective, 1% lookalike audiences. If your seed audience for the lookalikes are strong enough.
Yep.
But if you don't have enough, you know, if your seed is terrible, then the lookalike is terrible too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then how
So
many?
you need at least 200 in the look for your seed audience and a custom audience to create a good lookalike.
The when we're running the top of funnel dollar a days, I heard you in the training say don't do any targeting, but I got concerned about it going to consumers, so I just put like plumbing, like general plumbing terms and stuff. Should I remove that, or is that still being safe because I am B2C?
I'd look at the comments and I would look. I mean, because you're boosting, you're going for through plays, you know, 15-second plus video views, especially on YouTube, that will naturally lend itself towards the audience you want without targeting. And same thing for TikTok. If it's content that really someone who is a business owner would care about, instead of someone who's like interested in like broken toilets or like whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So put the plumber in there, or don't put the plumber in there.
Generally, you don't, but just test it and see.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay. I can do that.
Yeah.
So I like what you said about going to Twitter. So does that mean stop Facebook for right now and just
Keep Twitter going. I mean, keep Facebook going, but let's find some winners. And
Okay.
let's look at the nature of the engagement. Let's look at your average watch time. Let's look at how the performance of your hooks, which is the first 3 seconds, right? And see.
I love it.
Because if we're going for through plays, right? If you boost a post for engagement, if a video you're boosting for engagement, it's naturally going to select through play as your objective, which means 15-second plus. So I can't imagine you're going to attract a lot of consumers if the nature of your content is directed towards plumbers. And this is the whole thing, like our whole book on TikTok is about this, which is there's no targeting on TikTok, really. I mean, there is, but not really, because we're letting the algorithm filter by who's actually engaging. And YouTube does the same thing. Yeah, on YouTube, you can target by a particular video. You can target by a particular channel. You can, do like search retargeting. Yeah, you can do all that, but it really is down to, can you hold the audience?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So on Facebook, we have for the middle of funnels, you can't set those up on the boost, right? You have to go back into the ads manager to let it know.
Yeah, to set up those audiences, you have, So when you're boosting, you can only select from the audiences you have there. I mean, technically you create new audiences, but you need to go to the audience manager and ads manager to create real audiences.
Yeah.
But once you have those set, you barely ever need to go back to ads manager. You just keep boosting. And that's what people don't understand about a boosted post is, yes, there's setup in the ads manager, but you don't have to always do everything inside ads manager. You don't need a freaking forklift every time you need just, like a spoon or something. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes, makes sense. Okay.
I always say, well, I like, business manager because it's like, we used to have Power Editor, which they killed, right?
Yeah.
And, I like to use Power Editor because it's the most powerful. Yes, it is, but you don't always need to use the most whatever power. You need to use like the right tool for the right situation. And because of boosting and tuning and whatnot, we're boosting most of the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is super cool. So I'm going to start going through the course then for the Lighthouse course.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Anything else that you would recommend for me, Dennis?
I think you have a ton of stuff to go through right now. I think any more than this, it could create risk of not doing these things. So I love when we do like 2 or 3 things. You go to the buffet, just take 2 or 3 things, eat them, and then go back and get more. So I think you have a lot right here. If you just do one or two of the things we've talked about here, that's more than enough.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And then on the Wednesday calls, then if I've got any questions or anything like that, is that a
Yeah.
time to go ahead and bring it
Yeah,
up?
that's a great time. Just bring your questions.
Okay, I'll do that. And then if in the future I have accomplished all this and kind of ready for next step, is it okay to reach back out to you?
Yeah, just set up another time. You have the link.
Thank you, Dennis. I am extremely grateful.
Awesome, Richard. Well, the whole point is you're taking advantage of this. Like, you're taking action. Most people, they'll like sign up for some coaching or whatever, but then they don't do anything. And you look, I'm basically like a trainer where I'm giving you gym equipment, but if you don't use the gym equipment, is it because the gym equipment's a scam? No, because you didn't freaking do it. Like, the fact that I'm teaching you how to do a bench press or a pull up or whatever, is that like a secret? It's not a secret on how to do a pull up, right? You just need to freaking do it.
That sounds awesome. I'll go do some pull-ups.